メジャー翻訳速報。メジャーリーグの新たな日本人エース誕生となるか、佐々木朗希選手のメジャー挑戦に現地でも大きな注目が集まっています。ドジャースやヤンキースなど強豪球団との面談が続く中、意外な展開も見え始めており、非常に興味深い状況となってきました。このチャンネルでは MLB に関する現地放送局の様子を翻訳してお届けいたします。お見逃しのないよう今のうちにチャンネル登録をよろしくお願いいたします。
Gooby, good morning.
Matty, Harold, how you guys doing, man? You guys are my faves. What's going on there today?
It's good to see you. I know how much you love the holidays. You're like a Halloween freak. You love Christmas. You got the place all decked out. So I just want to put this out there for any retired big leaguer who's in his, I don't know, between 55 and 70, who might have had his shins dinged up by a Mark Gubicza sinker.
No doubt.
There is a soft spot to this guy's heart, and this is it. Happy holidays.
Thanks, guys. Happy holidays. I'll tell you, I do every bit of this decorations on my own, too. It takes me a few days. It takes me longer now as I'm getting a little bit older. But every time I tell people about that stuff, and you're right, Matty, that they go, this guy was an absolute idiot on the mound, but yet for some reason he's not a bad guy. But, you know, that's just me. I mean, I love the holidays. I give my mom all the credit. She had the house decorated up like immediately every single holiday, even 4th of July, Easter, Halloween, Thanksgiving, and then, of course, Christmas the most.
I'm looking at this and going, you put all that together, you take the time to do it. It's beautiful.
Yeah,
it's gorgeous.
Harold, I need that after, decompressing after all the base hits you had against me in your career. So I saw you on there like, oh man.
Yes. We got the number, Gooby. Our researcher, Mark Sales, just hit me with this. Harold was 22 for 48 against you. But 21 of the 22 hits were singles. You were slapping it around pretty good.
Well, he had that hard sinker. It was perfect for me to shoot the ball the other way or pull one through the hole on the right side.
Yeah, that's unbelievable.
Yeah. If he was throwing it up here, I was in trouble.
That's ownage. That's ownage. That's why he's the Grinch behind me over here. He's the Grinch.
Hey, speaking of which, I mean, I'm looking at your house. I'm going, can we see some of this? This is amazing.
Yeah, I'll give you a little showtime around here. I mean, right over here, obviously, we got right by the fireplace, we got Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus, and we got my little, the baseballs over there, and right here in the front here, we got all set up. I'm zooming around here. You guys are going to get dizzy here and stuff.
I
like
almost
that,
wish we could have done this at night to get your light show out front. I know you go hard on. Oh, that's beautiful there. I know you go hard on Halloween, Gooby. Do you go harder on Halloween or Christmas with the decor?
That's a good question, Matty. I mean, I like, it's a bad thing because the kids always go like, can you please not scare me here? But I said, hey, it's Halloween. So I do outside. I still do a pretty good job with this too for Christmas time.
How many kids knock on that door for trick or treating?
We got quite a few of them, and it's funny because some of the parents are like bringing them up awfully slow, and I got a couple of these things that really make some crazy noises and stuff. So they're always worried. So sometimes I have to go almost out towards the street to give my candy bars away. So I love Halloween, but this is my favorite Christmas time.
We want to ask you about some Royal stuff from your playing days, but I want to dig in a little bit on the Angels, who were very quick once again to sign one of the premier arms on the free agent board. Yusei Kikuchi coming to the Angels caught some people by surprise. That's a really nice ad for Perry Manassian and the Halos.
Yeah, I think so too, especially when you look, Matty, what he did at the end of the season with Houston. A lot of swing and misses. His fastball was going 95, 98 miles an hour. So, just watching him over the years, because he faced the Angels a ton when he was with Seattle. But, there was times there were some ups and downs. But I think last year he really found it. And just talking to a bunch of Angel people the last few days, that whole in spring training in Tempe, you guys are going to get a chance to see that down there, when you go through your reports down there in spring training. They have this new pitching lab being built down there in their spring training facility. So I think that's going to help him even better. And I think just talking to Perry Manassian this yesterday about the whole thing, he feels that he's going to be a big influence on Reed Detmers, who we still, as Angel fans and baseball fans, want to see him get to that next level. And he thinks Kikuchi could be that guy to help him out.
That's pretty cool stuff. I want to ask you about Trout. How's Mike doing this winter?
Yeah, Harold, I talk to him all the time. Of course, we're always talking about the Eagles stuff. And by the way, he was right in the end zone with all that melee was going on between the Steelers and the Eagles. And he sent me the video of that stuff too and said, oh, you're ready to go. He goes, yeah, I'm pumped up for this season to be able to go out there and perform. He says he's healthy. He's ready to go. Obviously, with Trout, he's the absolute key for the success of this club. If he's out there playing 130, 150 games this year, this team is so much better and so much more prepared to be able to be successful with the new additions they've made. You mentioned this one with Kikuchi. And, Travis d'Arnaud is a guy that, when they made that deal with the Braves, that's going to be huge because Logan O'Hoppy's made so many strides, but also he was catching every single day. So it's good to have him there with him, a big influence to be able to work with some of the young guys they have on this pitching staff, that they get a chance to be in a lot better team, I think. And they're still not done. Just talking to them last night again, they're not done. They're still going to be doing some things here before too long. But they were really quick to get out of the gate and be able to make some moves, to be able to perform and go out and get some guys, especially some veteran guys, to help out on the bench. Because last year the bench was a lot of guys that had not a lot of experience. When you guys get injured, and you notice, Harold, too, when you have to put those guys out there, they're not quite ready to be able to perform at that highest level.
Yeah.
What about Ron Washington? I know Gooby. I know Gooby's all. He's a good guy. He's good people. Tell me about Wash and the energy that dude brings, man, every day. It's going to be year 2. So what did you learn in year 1 and look forward to year 2 with Ron Washington at the helm?
Yeah, H, I'll tell you what, every day I go there, even on those Sunday morning games, and I'm struggling to get into myself. And he's out there, Zach Neto and all the guys are, come on, let's go, Ron, let's go. And he's out there hitting ground balls. I go, hey, watch, you need some Gatorade? He goes, no, I'm meant for this right now, to be able to go out there and perform. And just watching him, I think he's going to be even way better this year because now there's a lot of trust in the players. They went out and worked hard every single day with him. But now they have that trust to know that he knows the game so well. We were connected. I mean, he obviously went through the Royals Academy way back in the day. So I remember facing him even on the mound too. By the way, Harold, I got him out. I couldn't get you out, but I got him out. But I do remember that one. But he's a guy that everyone believes in. You know what? He makes sure if you're not going out there and working hard, he'll let you know about that. That's what I like about Wash the most.
Hey, Gooby, I know that, in addition to your broadcasting work, your career as a player, you're a huge fan of the sport. And there are 2 documentaries that have been created recently here at MLB Network by our terrific in-house department that feature 2 of your favorite guys. You're from Philly, a Mike Schmidt doc. I don't know if you've seen Michael Jack yet. And I know that you watched the George Brett doc, your very close friend, George. Give me your thoughts on both or one if you only watched the Brett documentary.
Yeah, so far I only watched the George Brett one. I'll tell you what, there were some things that I played with him for 10 years. I lived with him, for 2 years. I didn't know some of those things about George. And I know that his relationship, obviously, with his dad was always a tough one. But he was the most incredible competitor I've ever been around. And when you knew you needed a big hit, it didn't matter. I remember the one time, it didn't get in there in the documentary, but Mitch Williams is pitching for the Rangers. At that point, he's throwing a million miles an hour. And I remember him coming in saying, if I'm George Brett, I wouldn't be comfortable in the batter's box. So me being, the nag that I am, I brought the article over to George Brett. And he goes, who's this Mitch Williams guy? I go, he's the left-handed thrower for the Rangers. He goes, I hope he doesn't get in the game. So lo and behold, he comes in the game. There was a high fastball, about 95, dead center field, home run blast. And that was one of the few times that George took his time going around the bases. And I was laughing so hard at that when it was so great.
You started that.
It was great.
We got to find that. We got the library here, man. We could find that. I can't wait to look for that.
It was a blast at dead center field, too. And Schmitty, by the way, playing stickball in the schoolyard all the time, he was my guy. And then I got a chance to meet him on one of our Nike trips we went on. And I went up to try to talk to him. I couldn't even say a word. I'm like, Mike, I can't say a word. I felt like I was George Bailey from It's a Wonderful Life. George Bailey. So, I was gone. I was out of my mind. But Schmitty, I can't wait to watch that one because, hey, I know he got booed a lot in Philly. And I used to sit there at that 700 level, which is basically on the moon there at Old Veteran Stadium. I'm like, why is everyone booing him? He goes, I don't know. We just boo. We don't know any better. We just boo. But he was an incredible player. But I think the one thing about him is fielding ability at third base is something that we all forgot because he hit so many home runs, but he was an incredible fielder at third base.
You're going to love the doc. The Michael Jack documentary is every bit as good as the Brett one was. Hey, Gooby, we appreciate the visit today, man. Merry Christmas to you and your family, to the little ones, to the twins, and thanks for being on, man.
Matty and H, I appreciate it, man. I hope I didn't do too bad with all the moving around with the camera.
It was perfect.
Like but you know me. You know me.
Hey, look, we've had HUD moving around, so you're you're real good.
Yeah. Gooby, Merry Christmas, man. Thanks for being on.
Merry Christmas, guys. You're the best.
Where are you on the Christmas spectrum, doggy? Are you good with this holiday, or do you categorize it like you do Thanksgiving as the worst day of the year?
And this is even worse this year, Matty and Harold, because you have to remember the Netflix stupid games. The NFL put the game on at 1 o'clock, the Kansas City-Pittsburgh game. Now, who in America who's got any kind of family can watch a football game on Netflix at 1 o'clock? Why did they do it? Because they wanted to make sure people in Pakistan can watch the game live in prime time, and we get burnt. There's no night game on Christmas in the NFL. I mean, that's the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. So the games are over at 6 o'clock. Now, Matt, can you watch the football in the afternoon on Wednesday? Oh, it drives me crazy.
Yeah,
so
you're
that
right.
Has me bothered. That ball has me bothered big time. Really bothered by
What
that.
are you going to do? The game ends by 6.
There's 2 games, and they're going to be over by 6 o'clock. I mean, how about Christmas dinner? And they did this just to grab of the money to make sure we can Netflix the global company so they can watch the games in Europe. Who cares? How about the American football fan, for crying out loud? Oh, my God, I'm so bothered by that.
I know.
So, in other words, Kansas City, Pittsburgh at 1, I got no chance. And I don't even think I got much of a chance at Baltimore at Houston at 4:30. So I'm going to get home at 7 o'clock at night and have to watch Wonderful Life for the 9 millionth time, which I could care less about. Oh, my God, it drives me crazy.
You know what? We'll have Little Big League on MLB Network if you want to tune that in. I mean, we'll have some options.
Starring Tony Todd.
Starring our boy.
Or I can watch the Ken Burns 8th inning for the 9 billionth time in the last 13 years.
That's right.
I can watch that, too.
That's what we're advocating. Hey, let's ask you a little baseball here before we get elsewhere.
Gosh.
The offseason is hardly over. There are still a lot of big dominoes that are going to fall. But if you had to anoint a winner and a loser of the offseason so far, which teams would you put in those categories?
I tell you, I think the Yankees are a winner. I mean, the Yankees signed Fried, Bellinger, and Devin Williams for Soto, and it wasn't even nearly the money. So the Yankees, I think they've done a great job. No, they gave Fried too many years. We understand that. Williams will help that bullpen. And Bellinger at Yankee Stadium, he's versatile defensively, and he plays well in a big game. That is the Yankees Cashman did a great job. And I don't understand the Mets. Let me get this straight. They bring Soto in, and I know they're adverse to signing big pitchers because of Verlander, and obviously Scherzer didn't quite work out. The Mets are going to try to survive with the Gifford Cannings and the Frankie Montases of the world and try to strike lightning in a bottle again after they did it this past year with Severino and Quintana and Minaya. That's asking a lot. I mean, they can hit, but they're starting pitching, which came up very short against L.A. That's not a good staff. And if you're going to give Soto $800 million and give his mother a clothing expense, why not go out there and go get yourself a starting pitcher?
Timeout. His mother a closing expense? I hadn't heard that one.
I hadn't heard that either. Did that?
Yeah, Bill Madden. Did you read Bill Madden last week in the New York Daily News? That, he got 22 tickets in the seats behind home plate. He got maybe some private plane stuff, and his mom, some sort of clothing expense. Really? For $805 million? If that is true, and I didn't report it, if that is true, I mean, how in the world can you get a starting pitcher, for crying out loud? They need a starting pitcher. But your original question is this. The Yankees, with the 3 acquisitions, to me, did a great job. That's your original question.
Yeah, and they're not even finished yet. That's what's exciting.
Right.
What about your Giants? Are they going to sign Burns, or what's going on out there?
Well, I think they had a good chance to sign him there, Harold, but I think the fact that Snell got 8 years, now you're going to have to go, 9 years, $270 for Burns. Boy, you're going to give a pitcher $30 million a year for 9 years. That's never going to last. But maybe they'll do it. They lost Snell. They got the Dodgers and Padres in the same division. Adames is, listen, decent signing. He doesn't hit in a big game, but decent signing. But they need another starting pitcher. And it sounds like Burns, who went to St. Mary's, who's got some Bay Area roots, that he would be the guy. But if you give him $270 million, buyer beware. That's a lot of money for a starting pitcher.
What if you go like 5 years for 50?
That's not happening.
Something like that.
That's not happening.
Well, Fried got 8 years. If Fried got 8, how do you not give Burns 9?
Yeah. Right. Yep, something commensurate to start with, and likely something north of that. I know you're paying attention this weekend, the college football playoff season, the inaugural run. Who do you love? Who do you like out there in the playoff?
Well, 2 things I would say. A lot of pressure on Ohio State. Ryan Day needs to win the game. That's number one, in Columbus with a very disgruntled fan base. Number two, I better see good games out of SMU and Indiana. Indiana did nothing all year except beat up the Purdue's of the world. And SMU had one good half against Clemson, and everybody wanted to go throw them a bouquet and put them in the tournament. If they're out of the game tomorrow afternoon at halftime, 35-3 Penn State, you're going to hear from me on Monday at 3 o'clock. And I'll say something else, too. If Notre Dame, if Indiana walks into South Bend and gets blown out tonight, I'm going to go crazy there. Alabama, 3-loss team, didn't make it. Only 3 teams out of the SEC. And we're going to put Indiana and SMU in. They better be competitive. That's the first thing I'd say. And how about the empty seats? Did you see that? If you want to go to Happy Valley tomorrow, you can get a ticket for $22. If you want to go to South Bend tonight, the ticket, cheapest one, is $690.
Woo!
So think about the differences in the two places.
Wow.
How about that?
That's
Yes, sir. Interesting.
steep ticket. Steep ticket.
Do you have any thoughts on Oregon Ducks football? Harold's Oregon Ducks. He's waiting for some affirmation.
Well, here's what I want.
I don't want to
Here's
hear
what I
from
want for Harold. Here's what I want for Harold. Let's have Ohio State beat Tennessee, and let's have Harold have the worst New Year's Day in his life. 5:15 at the Rose Bowl. Ohio State makes up for the bad loss and have them kill the Ducks and put Ohio State in the semifinal. I would love that so much so I can make fun of him all year.
Oh.
So I'm going to root for Ohio State, and then they get their revenge against Oregon on New Year's Day at 5:15 in the Rose Bowl. How about that,
I'm not even worried about who we play. Everybody's talking about how bad the bracket is. We got the toughest bracket. You got to beat everybody anyway. I think all comers come. This is a good club, man. Got a quarterback in his 6th year. You don't fool Dylan
Penn
Gabriel.
State,
He's ready.
Penn State
and I will
rush.
say
Penn
this.
State.
When they
Yep,
played
go ahead.
Ohio State at the beginning of the year, we're twice as good a team as we were then. We got so much
Penn
better.
State ran for how many yards did Penn State run for 2 weeks ago? About 300 yards on the
Doesn't
ground?
matter. We were keying
against
on the
that
tight
Oregon
end.
defense?
It was about winning the game.
That's good stuff. He's coming right after you because Harold's going to be on the
And by the
sidelines.
way- And by the way, Matt, enough of you with these over-unders. You know who Matt loved last year
Who did I love?
on this show?
Who did I love?
The over of Chris Bryant with the home runs at 19 and
God,
a half.
I know.
What?
I loved it.
That was one of the worst picks.
Leave it
in
to
the
Doggy
history
to
of
remind me of that.
procrastinating
He didn't
by
even
you.
come close to
Oh, my
that.
God, that was big.
Is there
What do you
one?
have, two?
Is there one baseball team over under that caught your attention? Because that stuff's out way earlier than it usually is. Did something grab
Yeah,
you?
I didn't see it. I did see you talk about Seattle and the A's. And be careful about Harold. He came on our great little show on Sirius XM right before the postseason. Nicely. Harold and I have a nice relationship
What did
on
I
the radio.
say?
He does a great job.
That was great.
He loved the Royals to beat the Yankees.
Hey,
What?
I was close, and I had you
No,
believing
you
it too.
weren't.
Doggy, we
No,
appreciate you.
That was bad. I'm not done yet. What are you talking about? I got more to say.
I'm getting like
Go
woodshed
ahead.
talking.
What
my
do you
ear
got?
here.
What do you got? We'll just Oscar music.
We want to
you
wish
off.
you. We want to wish you, despite the Netflix NFL double dip. We want to wish you a Merry Christmas, you and your family. We love having you on every Friday. Happy holidays, bud.
We love you, Matt. Harold, keep it going. Go Oregon.
Love you, buddy.
All right, the Friday before the holiday, and JP Morosi is with us for the very latest in the free agent and trade market. JP, good morning. We're hearing Josh Naylor's name kicked around as a guy that's being coveted by some offensive-starved lineups, including one in Seattle. Is this real or is this smoke?
Matt and Harold, good morning. It is not fake news, as we sometimes hear in that drop on the soundboard, Matty. This is real. There have been some conversations between the Mariners and the Guardians about Josh Naylor, who is coming off a career best season from a power production standpoint. Better than 30 homers and 100 RBI. And we think about the Mariners and how they have often struggled to produce at those key corner positions. I wonder if this could be a great fit all the way around, and you consider, too, the impact that Naylor would have on Julio Rodriguez. Julio had a bit of a down year in 2024. He needs to bounce back for the Mariners to make the playoffs. Probably no better way to do that than to have Josh Naylor batting behind you. And, guys, this is, generally speaking, a pretty active part of the marketplace. Pete Alonso at first base on the free agent side is still out there. Christian Walker is still out there. Paul Goldschmidt is still out there. Carlos Santana, the ageless Santana, is still there. So for the Mariners, as much as there is a dramatic need for them at first base, they've got some good options, including this potential trade for Josh Naylor.
I can't believe you got through that discussion and the potential marriage of Naylor and the Mariners without mentioning he's a Canadian. Is he a British Columbia guy?
Yeah, he's from Vancouver.
He's from Mississauga, Ontario, just right outside of Toronto. So he is a Toronto area guy. Of course, he and his brother Bo made some history, the first brothers to play in the same playoff series since the Molinas about 2 decades ago. But yes, it could be a move west, close to the Canadian border. But yes, indeed, he's from the Toronto area.
Other side of Canada. Got it. That's,
so let me ask you this, JP. Is he messing up the first base market by being out there as a trade? And how long would a team have Naylor for?
Naylor has just 1 year left before free agency, which puts him in the same general service time class as a Ryan Mountcastle, was one more option. They're in a potential trade with the Baltimore Orioles. So I do think that the availability of an excellent trade option in Naylor, Harold, is slowing things up. I also believe that the general number of teams out there looking to add at first base, at least for a contract of 5 or 6 years, if that's what Pete Alonso was looking for, I'm just not sure that many teams are out there with a long-term deal for Alonso at this point in time, which I think ends up pointing towards maybe a shorter-term deal in free agency for someone like a Christian Walker. The Astros, though, are certainly open-minded, I believe, to adding a first baseman, especially given that they added Paredes over at third base. So, yes, I think the long answer to the short question, Harold, is that Naylor, Mountcastle, the trade options, I believe, are slowing up the market for Alonso and Walker.
I didn't see this coming. I did not see Naylor being available coming, because this guy's a pretty elite run producer and a big part of why the Guardians lineup is as good as it is now.
But this leads to the discussion we had the other day. Identify your guys and lock them up.
Yeah.
They want to go long-term with him.
Yeah.
But one guy that's out there, JP, is Mr. Sasaki.
Oh, yes, Roki Sasaki saying goodbye to Japan and headed stateside. I know this won't happen until the middle of January, but who are the hot teams in pursuit?
Well, the meetings in person have begun, and there was one for the Mets, according to Andy Martino of SNY, where the Mets met with Sasaki yesterday. So this is now, I'm not sure if we're at the finalist stage yet, but they're starting to narrow down the field. And we know the Mets have had this in-person meeting. Brian Cashman said, according to our own Brian Hoke, that the Yankees have a meeting scheduled with Sasaki. I am of the mind that the Padres, who have already, as my understanding, had some dialogue with Sasaki, at least remotely. There's been some dialogue there. The Padres, the Dodgers, we know that they're likely part of that finalist group whenever they arrive to that juncture. So it's not clear to me if the Padres and Dodgers have already had their in-person meetings or if that's going to wait until after the first of the year or in the coming days. But we do believe Mets, Yankees, Padres, Dodgers, all in that conversation. And remember, the key thing here, he is still considered an international amateur. So this signing bonus, because of the international signing bonus rules, is likely to be somewhere in the $3 or $4 or $5 million range, as it was for Ohtani the first time he signed when he came over and signed with the Angels.
Ooh, interesting. I know that A.J. Preller has added Japanese to his language skill set. Maybe that moves the needle.
I want him to get into Loretta Stone.
He took a Loretta Stone class, and now he knows how to speak Japanese.
I know we're trying to move through this, but I want to ask you this, though. It was widely said that Ohtani didn't want to come east. He wanted to have a West Coast destination. Are we talking the same with Sasaki? If so, why is he meeting with the East Coast clubs? Quick answer.
Not the case. It's not the case, Harold. He is more broadly looking around the major leagues. The one thing, though, that his agent Joel Wolf said when he spoke at the winter meetings is that perhaps a mid-sized market would be more to Roki's comfortability. So while he's meeting with the New York teams, it is certainly not a conclusion that it's going to be a big market on either coast.
All right, lastly, Michael Lorenzen's out there as a free agent once again. We love Michael. He's a great dude. He's come on our show a lot. He's being marketed apparently as a two-way guy legitimately. Is this real, or is this just, hey, look, my guy can do both sides of the scorecard? Or do we really expect him to be used that way?
It is real, and there is a definite advantage to doing so. So credit to Ken Rosenthal. He had a great report on this recently in The Athletic about why it makes sense for Michael Lorenzen to be a two-way player. If you get a chance to be classified as that, which means at least 20 innings pitched and then at least 20 games as a position player or DH in which you have 3 plate appearances, if you get that designation, you no longer count against the 13 pitcher limit. There you see Michael in his offensive days there with the Reds. Guys, his OPS in his career is better than 700. There's a lot of everyday position players who don't have a 700 OPS now.
I love this.
He is a great athlete, Harold, and I remember him telling me during the playoffs, we were just having a casual conversation that, I want to try to come back as a position player at some point. I didn't realize it was going to be this soon, but the idea here, guys, is that, and Ken made this point in the story, you sign as a two-way player with the White Sox or the Marlins, more of a rebuilding team, accrue your necessary plate appearances there, and then at the deadline, you're traded to a contending team, and you do not count against their 13 pitcher limit once you have achieved those milestones. This is genius by Lorenzen and his agent Ryan Hamill, and I think this idea has a lot of merit indeed.
Interesting. JP Morosi with the latest in the free agent market. Roki Sasaki, Josh Naylor. JP, thanks. Oh, can you hand me that?
Want me to answer that right now?
Yeah, pick it up.
Here we go.
I think it's.
Go ahead.
Hello, Hot Stove. Oh, it's Rosenthal. It's Rosenthal.
Oh, what's up, Ken?
How you feeling, Kenny?
I keep getting wind of different things that are being discussed.
That's interesting. What about this story that you broke of Michael Lorenzen being described as a two-way guy? Is that a feeling you have?
My gut is no, but my gut means nothing.
Well, you just gave Morosi the idea that he's going to be a two-way guy. What's wrong with you, man?
There's some drug dealing going on.
I don't have time for you. Hang up on Rosenthal.
Oh my gosh.
メジャー翻訳速報。メジャーリーグ挑戦を決断した佐々木朗希投手について気になる動きが出てきましたね。興味深いのはすでにメッツとの面談が実現し、ヤンキースも面談を計画しているという点です。さらにパドレス、ドジャースといった強豪チームも候補として挙がっているんですが、実は中規模の市場のチームの方が佐々木投手には合っているかもしれないという見方もあるようです。契約金に関しては大谷翔平選手が初めて渡米した時と同じような300万から500万ドル程度になりそうだとか、これから日本球界を代表する若手投手がどんな舞台で新たな挑戦を始めるのか、一野球ファンとしてワクワクしながら見守りたいと思います。皆様はどのチームが獲得すると予想されますか？ぜひコメント欄で教えてください。では次回の動画でお会いしましょう。ご視聴ありがとうございました。